Everyone, welcome to the Data Insights podcast, where we feature data pros to talk about their data journeys and challenges they face in their roles, along with practical insights to elevate your data game. I'm Arya, co-founder of Datawise. Datawise is an AI co-pilot for data intelligence, empowering data teams to discover, manage, and govern their data assets seamlessly in a single platform. Today we have Advaita Nigudkar, who is a director of product management at Bill.com, which is a leader in financial automation for small and medium businesses. Adwaita is a seasoned product leader with a strong track record for FinTech. With her expertise in driving innovative solutions, she's shaping the future of businesses, how businesses manage their finances efficiently. Welcome, Adwaita.
Thank you.
Great to have you, Adwaita. So, Adwaita, can you share your journey into product management and what inspired you to pursue a career in FinTech?
I learned about product management a little bit early in my career when I was doing my bachelor's. And since then, I think whether it's taking steps to pursue my master's or coming to the US and looking for the right um, skill sets I need to build to become a product manager or get acquainted with that has been in service of that. Since my childhood, I've just been a little curious and would love to solve problems. So, with that in mind, just understanding customer pain points and helping figure out solutions or products that meet their expectations has always excited me. And I feel like when I look back today, it's one of the best decisions I made from a professional standpoint. To answer your other question on why fintech, my dad's always been in like the finance domain in his professional career, so that was something I was intimately familiar with. As I grew up, and even today for that matter, I've seen how much fintech has evolved. Like, of course, in the United States, but even in a country like India, um, few years ago we were a very cash heavy country, and now if you go there, there's hardly any vendor, whether it's a rickshaw driver or a grocery store, that accepts cash. They're all leveraging digital payments, and for a country like India to move that fast on that transformation, it's just amazing to see. So one thing that keeps me going is just the amount of innovation that there is in the fintech domain, which excites me a lot, and that there's so much more opportunity for us ahead of this too. I'm so excited to see where it goes. I did stumble upon fintech in Bill.com. Excited to be here, and I think in the fintech domain for a while if I have the opportunity.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for sharing your journey. So, what excites you at working, at Build.com and its mission in financial automation for SMBs?
I'll talk about the mission first. Our CEO is super passionate about the problems we solve for the SMBs. Like, our target customers are SMBs and mid market, and they account for a huge percentage of the US economy. And just to have a market where you are addressing like financial operations problems for these SMBs that are trying to grow their business is something that is very satisfying, at least for me personally. I'm sure a lot of my colleagues also resonate with that, and we feel that in the company, which is, hey, we're all solving a common problem for our customers, and what does it take to address XYZ problems and automate those experiences for those customers. So that's what keeps us going. From a build.com standpoint, I feel like the people are one of the best parts in addition to the problem we're solving, because everyone's focused on like a common pain point, and the goal of everyone is generally to uplift others, and that makes a big difference in how you go to work and how you show up and meet with everyone else.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So, how has your role as a director of product management evolved over time, and what are the key lessons you've learned?
I've just become a director. It's just been 6 months, so lots to learn still. I think it's going to be a constant journey. But one of the biggest transitions for me has been moving from an IC into becoming a people leader, where you have to now showcase impact through those folks and empower them to become great leaders. Right now, you can't show direct impact. I mean, there's pros and cons of it, but it's a big learning curve where you make sure that they have the autonomy, they have the tools to make sure that they can succeed in the job that they've been given. So that's one. And then for me, what I've learned is balance clarity. If you give them clarity on what they need to do, it's generally helpful for them. Talk about what your expectations are and just have clear OKRs so they know what goals they're marching towards. Like my leaders do that a very good job at that. And I always strive to do a little better than I do every day. So that's super helpful for me. And I'm hoping that teams find that helpful too.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So what role do you think data, talking about data, right? So what role do you think data and AI play in enhancing financial software and user experiences?
Well, financial software, Rod, I feel like data plays a big role. AI and ML, I think, are going to just are transforming, not even going to. They are transforming the landscape of how we interact on a daily basis, whether it's financial tools or not, right? From a financial sector standpoint, like AI is going to help streamline those rote tasks, like I was mentioning, right? Like I don't have to do data entry anymore if you can read a document and pre-fill information for me. Similarly, from a machine learning standpoint, if machine learning can help me understand that there are anomalies in the system based on whatever my payment patterns are, my cash flow patterns are, then it takes the load off of the SMB, for example, to go and figure out and look at reports and spend hours on that because the system takes care of that for you while you focus on growing your business. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to do that. The only thing to be careful of is how you balance that with user expectations and take the users along in that journey. Mainly with SMBs, not everyone is tech savvy. Everyone's trying to, at different stages of their technological, what do you call it? Comfort with AI and ML, and we'll get there eventually. But in that journey, how do you make the customer comfortable with that and take them along the journey where they trust AI and ML enough to help them with their financial decisions? Because like this is not a social platform, it's real money for real customers, and it means the world to them, right? It helps them run their homes. So how do we balance that out? Something we are on a constant journey with.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that insight. So from a product management perspective, how do you balance customer needs, regulatory requirements, and business objectives, when developing products?
I don't think we can, I think it's a constant juggle. Don't think we can drop the ball on either, especially in the fintech industry. Whether it's customer expectations or regulatory requirements, I think regulatory requirements, compliance, all of those are somehow prerequisites that we have to meet. And the business goals or the strategic goals are just something that help us make sure that whatever problems we're solving for the customers in the short term actually align with the broader vision of what we are getting to, right? Like, are we still on track with what we've promised our customers in like 5 years from now or 3 years from now? All of these, to be honest, are always in service of the customer, right? Of course, there is back and forth sometimes to make sure that we have regulatory requirements, but how do we ease our customers into it or ease it into the experience that we're building so that it's not jarring or it's not too much that we're asking of our customers as we ensure regulatory requirements are met from our internal standpoint.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. And then what are some data challenges unique to product management, especially in fintech, and how do you navigate that?
Data challenges with fintech. I think all of us have similar data challenges. I don't think fintech has something specific. It's just access to data is a little bit more constrained just because there is financial information. PI is another one, right? Like how much can you expose to different internal users and how much needs to be safeguarded? Well, that one aspect of that is like us and the internal company, but even within the um, SMBs and the users that use our platform, there is a lot of things you have to think about in terms of, okay, what does a certain persona have access to versus not? What is the business owner comfortable sharing with their employees in the product versus not? So, data visibility and access is a big part. I think you can relate to it with Datawise, but we're all figuring that piece out.
Awesome. Awesome. And then talking about collaboration, right? Like what strategies do you usually use to foster collaboration between product, engineering, and other teams?
I think for me, what's worked well is having clarity in terms of accountability. Like, what is your engineering partner accountable for? What is product accountable for? What is design accountable for? Which is where you can build a highly functional team that knows what each of their roles are. And it's not to say that great ideas can't come from other teams. Of course they can, but it's important to know, okay, who is, and also establishing the decision making framework, right? Who is the final decision maker on this? Because then the lines are not hazy. Like, everyone deals with challenges with decision making, but when you know who the driver of an initiative is or the approver is, then it streamlines like 20% of the pain points that you will see with saying, okay, but who's making this decision if we have to escalate a problem, right? In addition to that, communication is a big part of it, which is verbal or written, right? You could be working on the best project, but if you're not keeping your stakeholders in the loop or taking the team along, it's really hard. Besides that, I think something somebody had once told me is like, it's super important not just what you get done or how much you deliver, but it's also important how you get it done. So just taking the people along, celebrating the small wins, giving teams the visibility when they deserve it is super important. So they feel like they're having fun when they're working with you. It's not just like rote tasks where you're going at it one after the other.
Awesome. Thanks for those insights. So, you are now people leader. So how do you build a team culture that encourages innovation and customer centric thinking, especially from a product management standpoint?
One of the things we do at Bill is making sure that we are in touch with customers. Like, there are newer things we do all the time, but wherever possible, when we have pain points, like, how do we validate that with the customer sooner than later, right? Like, that's, I know, product management 101, but it's super important for teams to do that. So that's where like the teams are encouraged to make sure, hey, you have a pain point, let's validate it. And data is one point way, right? One way to do it. Talking to customers is another. Sometimes it's a combination of both. So there is that. In terms of building the culture with teams, I feel like it's important to make sure that they know that it's a safe environment to work in with each other, and you can talk about your challenges, your wins, your learnings, and share your learnings with each other. Especially in product management, we're generally dealing with similar problems, especially if it's working with teams, etc. Or, oh, I came across this hurdle or a trade-off decision, and the other PM can help each other. Just giving them clarity of ownership, building a culture of learning from each other, and having a safe environment where you're clear on what is expected of you, your accountability matrix, and helping each other grow. That's super important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Thanks for sharing that again. So, as you know, Datawise is an AI-powered data intelligence platform, designed to streamline data discovery, governance, and quality management. What challenges in your work could a platform like this help address?
I think visibility into so many data sources is always a challenge, right? With the size of the product and the company growing, we continue to use different tools to get a clear insight into who the customer is and understanding, linking all these different data sources. That's a challenge I'm assuming something like Datawise would help us solve, where it's like we get a 360 view into all the data sources and be able to make accurate data decisions that further impact both the business and the customer.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And then, based on your experience, what value proposition would you look for in a platform like Datawise to support your team's workflows?
Accuracy, self-serve, and 60 source of data. I mean, I know that's exactly what Datawise is doing, but then if you're truly a one-stop shop, then you need to deliver on that promise. And self-serve, I feel like, is such an important factor. Like, yes, we have analysts and we rely a lot on those, but there are some times where you don't need to bother an analyst. And if a tool can help you answer basic questions, then that saves so many hours of work, both on you as well as the analysts on your team. So I feel like that would be super important.
Awesome. And then, from a product management perspective, like how do you evaluate, the potential of a tool such as Datawise for a fintech company like, Bill? And are there areas where your team might leverage, Datawise to kind of improve workflows or enhance decision making?
I think in terms of evaluation, it's just about, in addition to what um, features and capabilities a product like Datawise offers, it's also about the strategic fit of the tool. Like, ease of integration would be a big factor. and then pricing, right? Like how quickly can we plug and play with the tool, and how expensive is it for us? Like I know every tool has different pricing models, but like as a product for Datawise, do you have a usage based pricing? Do you have something else? And that defines which product would be the best fit for the company, especially for something where you're constantly going to pull data. If it's usage based, it could stack up very quickly. So curious to know about that.
Okay, okay, awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And then talking about product management again, like what advice would you give to aspiring product managers who want to succeed in the fintech industry or any industry?
Be curious, be open to learning the ropes of product management. I have benefited and I've enjoyed doing product teardowns a lot. So for anyone who's early career or even wondering if, oh, should I do a product management course or is this the space for me? Pick your favorite product. Think about who the target customer is. Think about what problems it solves, and break it down into a project of a product strategy. See if you like it. If it drives you, then you would thoroughly enjoy it, and seek out help, seek out opportunities to grow in the space. There's a lot of talent across. LinkedIn's been great with that. Connect with folks, maybe make your own groups where you can do your product teardowns. I've done that in a past life. It's super fun where you bring a bunch of folks, have a common challenge, maybe pick LinkedIn as your product and break it down. It's fun. And yeah, I think as long as you enjoy it, sky's the limit.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And then what, lastly, how do you see product management going forward? Like what's the future of product management, do you think, especially with things like AI coming up and so on? So how do you feel about that and what's your thoughts on that?
Expect AI to help streamline and fast track some of these product management phases or stages, as we call it. For example, if it's learning about customer data, has there been past research? We have different tools even today where you could just do a quick search and it'll look through all the company's past research and share it with you, as opposed to you having to go through different files and folders and losing out on a wealth of information that other folks have invested in, right? Another example is leveraging a tool like Datawise to say, "Oh, help me get data on XYZ so I can make the right decisions." For things that we've historically spent hours and days on, AI, I feel like, can help us fast track that to make better decisions and get better at a product skill set by refining it, because like it has this wealth of information. If you look at chat gpt even today, you can ask for a template or a framework and it'll spin that out, so you can build your knowledge and become better product managers with the help of AI.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks so much for those insights, Dweta, and thank you so much for your time. Glad to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Sure. And thank you to our viewers. Stay tuned as we are building DataWise. We'll soon be launching our test pilot. Thank you. Cheers.